integrated interview. No, mains? So all of you are fresh batch. How many of you have given prelims? Clear also. How many times? One? So what is the general educational background of you people? How many engineers? Same trend. Okay. How many of you are familiar with Kannada? So can everybody follow Kannada? Kannada matadu ready. Okay, I mix both Kannada as well as English. Clear? And I am Mithun. I am 2016 batch IPS. I got an All India rank of 130. And we both were together, me and Somu, for almost 2.5 years. We used to prepare together here only in Mahalakshmi. We had taken a house for them. So what is it that you people are expecting from me? No, to make it more fruitful, I just want to know your expectations. You just want to listen to whatever I say.
Approach how? He asked secured 130th rank and why IPS instead of IPS?
Sir, like you have still 2 years to approach. And what can be the strategies for that 2 years? Can we prepare for prelims within 6 months?
Okay, let me start from where I began my studies. I'll generally take the session. I will cover most of the questions that you people have asked. First thing and foremost for this UPSC preparation is that you should have a very strong motive within yourself. Just because of societal pressure or just because your parents or friends are pressurizing you, you cannot do this. That fire or that motivation should be from within you. How much ever I can speak or how much ever rank holders you can interact with or how much ever influence that you can get from your outside world, that will all be very temporary. Whatever I speak, maybe it will motivate you for next 4 to 5 days or maximum a week or a month. So the persistent effort of years, the motivation has to be from within yourself. Okay, you said that clearly initially. What is the motive and why I want to become a civil servant, irrespective of the service that you should. That motivation is clear. Next stage is maybe Somshekhar will be able to help you regarding the selection of your options and all that. Let me tell you, this UPSC preparation is a very enjoyable journey. Most of the times, what I have seen, even with my friends also, is that most of the students or maybe most of the aspirants, they will not enjoy that preparation phase. They just want to finish it off as soon as possible. But after 3 or 4 years of my exam, I can clearly with confidence say that that was one of the best part of my life. Where you will be progressing as an individual also. You will be learning a lot of things. While preparing for the exam, you should take the exam as an integrated whole. You cannot break the exam into 3 or 4 parts or phases. It is an integrated whole. The exam is made in such a way that it will test your different sorts of abilities in different types of different stages of exams. That does not mean that your preparation also be as per that phase. Your preparation should be an integrated whole. Say for example, someone asks, can I clear the prelims in 6 months? That should not be the question that should be popping up in your head. Because see, irrespective of the subject that you are studying, maybe you are studying history, GS or maybe economics or maybe polity or whichever subjects that you are studying, you should think that in an integrated way. You should look that subject or look that particular matter in an integrated way. Maybe, for example, inflation. If you are reading about inflation, you should expect or you should maybe frame certain questions that might probably come in prelims, as well as certain analysis of inflation. What is the effect that it will have on different sectors, or maybe on the whole economy, or maybe if you want to go further, the international repercussions that particular event will have. See, most of the things that you will be studying, everything will be interlinked. 90 or 95% of the things will be interlinked. There was a question in 2011, if I remember correctly, it broadly said that the West Asian conflict, the main root cause of the West Asian conflict is linked to the economics of that particular region. How many of you will agree with that question? Or maybe how many of you will agree with that sort of an analysis? What we read in newspapers or what we hear from most of the newsrooms is that the West Asian conflict is mainly related to the politics of that particular region. But the whole conflict was based on the economics of that region. Not just the economy, it is related to the geography of that particular region also. There are so many geographical aspects that are very important in that particular region. If you can go on analyzing that particular event. Your preparation also should be in that particular way. You cannot see one particular event in its in a narrow view. It has to be in an integrated whole. Both from your exam perspective also. It should be prelims as well as mains as well as interview. Say for interview also, if you are reading one particular topic, you should be able to maybe explain it in maybe 20 or 30 words. The time that you will be getting in an interview to answer a particular question is 20 to 30 seconds, not more than that. You should be able to refine your thoughts and express that particular topic in maybe 20 to 30 seconds. For whole of the topic, that is whole of the syllabus or subjects, that is how we have to approach. Okay. Secondly, most of you are freshers, and I want to tell you that as I told you, this phase will be very enjoyable also, and at the same time you will face a lot of troubles also. Maybe so many people who will be telling that maybe it is difficult, you people will have to change your course of action, maybe you have to try for some other career. You will be reaching that age where you will have to settle, and most of your friends will be settled. How many of you are working here? No. Don't worry, I was also not working. Those societal pressures will also be there. It is the self-belief that you people have within yourself that will push you ahead of others. You should always try and believe that you will be able to. That perseverance, that feeling that I will be able to succeed in this attempt or the next attempt. That is one thing that will take you forward. Initially, I was working. I am an engineering graduate. I passed out in 2008, and from 2008 till 12 I was working. And 4 years into job, I resigned. There were so many doubts within my family and my friends. If I was doing a right thing or not. I was having a decent salary. I was almost well settled. I had no reason to quit my job. But then, there will be some inner voice that will guide you always. That says that maybe this is not the right approach for you, this is not the right job for you to quit that particular job. There were so many doubts also. Not within myself, maybe when your friends and family are so persistent on you not leaving the job, certain times your inner self also starts questioning whether you are doing the right thing or not. And during the preparation phase also, so many times that self-doubt will be arising within yourself, because this is a very long journey. Maybe you can clear prelims once, or maybe you can go till mains, or SOMO also he had gone till interview. And from there again you have to start your preparation from scratch. You will be competing with rest of the list from the scratch. During that time, your self-confidence will be questioned, or maybe it will be tested a lot of times. Maybe you can think you have achieved something great after clearing the exams, but once you clear the exams and once you enter the field, these sort of self-doubts or maybe self-questioning or critics from outside the world, it will be a daily affair. What you should think is these are the preparation phase for you, not just to clear the exams, but also to make you more resilient towards handling the capabilities or the questions that will be coming across you. So you should take it in that particular positive spirit where you have to believe in yourself and you should move forward. Okay. And, what is the question that you were asking? And Somu also was telling about the film strategy. There is no particular strategy as such. It is just that my orientation was. I used to say him the same thing for almost 2.5 years, but he never believed me. I was telling the truth only. The thing is, in prelims, as I was telling you earlier, if you have prepared in an integrated whole, prelims will not be a difficulty for you at all. You should try to understand the purpose of prelims examination. It is not to select you. It is to eliminate the persons who the UPSC thinks are not capable for that particular year. Okay, if you can understand that particular purpose of UPSC, you will be able to have a proper approach towards prelims. Most of the things, what happens is in prelims, I'll tell you one example. There was a question in 2014 or 15, I do not remember exactly, which said this West Asian conflict was at the peak. It was in 2014 or 15, I guess, I'm not very sure. Which of the seas will not be owned towards Mediterranean Sea? There was a question which said that which of the countries do not border Mediterranean Sea? Okay, and I had seen some video of people in Syria killing some people near that sea border. I was sure about 2 or 3 options, and the last option I was not very sure, and one was Syria. Okay, then I related this video to that question. Then that clicked. This is how most of the questions will click. If you look, everything is in an integrated whole. Somewhere or the other, you will be able to find the answers. And one suggestion that I would make you, like to tell you people in prelims is that out of 100 questions, you should be able to answer at least 90 to 95 questions. This is the only secret. Nothing else. What happens is in UPSC, around 40 questions will be 100% sure. Most of you people will be 100% sure out of 100 questions. Maybe 35 to 40 every year. That will be easy. And those are the questions you should not miss at all. That is where your competition with other people will be decided. Maybe 1 or 2 human errors will be acceptable every year, but not more than that. Out of 40 questions, you should be able to, that means 40 questions in the sense you will be having at around 10 to 15 questions of economics, 10 to 15 questions of politics, and a few questions of history. And 1 or 2, maybe 5 or 6 general current affairs topics questions will be there. These are the ones where you should be 100% sure and you should go for it. You should have no doubt in your mind regarding these questions. Next 20 to 30 questions will be 50 to 50, where you will not be sure. Maybe in one or the other options that will be given in that particular question, you will be having certain doubts. It is in these particular questions that your integrated approach for your studies will be helpful to you. If you are not able to select a particular answer, at least you should be able to eliminate certain answers. Okay. Out of 4 options, you will be 100% sure that this cannot be the option at all. About 1 or 2 options, you will be 100% sure that this cannot be the answer. you should have that ability, or you should build that ability of eliminating wrong answers also. For the 20 to 30 questions, you'll be maybe 70% sure that this might be the answer. You should go for that also. And for the rest 10 to 20 questions, maybe you will be 30% sure. You might feel that maybe somewhere while preparing something, I had read about it or I had heard about it. You should go for that also. Because even if you are 30% sure, your net result will be in positive only. Okay. See, out of 4 questions, if you are able to get at least one question right, that will take care of the rest 3 questions also. Your scores will not be coming to the negative margin. Okay. So there will be some 5-6 questions where you will have no idea about that question at all. So you should not go and attempt those questions, because that will be very dangerous. Maybe that will pull your scores by 3 or 4 marks or 5 or 6 marks. That is the simple strategy. And try to follow up your, try to believe your instincts and try to develop your instincts. Those instincts will be very helpful for you because you know. Most of the times what happens is, initially you will have felt that this might be the correct option, but after thinking maybe 3 or 4 minutes about the same question, your inner voice will be telling that no, this cannot be the right answer, there is something else will be the answer. And I am 100% sure that second option will definitely be a wrong answer. So try to go with your instincts and try to believe your instincts. Don't try to make any changes in that last minute. We used to, in 2011, we used to answer in that pencil, where we used to erase that particular answer and then put another answer. And that 100% used to be the wrong answer. And practice as many questions as possible, not your mock tests and all. Try to take the old question papers of UPSC. From 20% of the questions will be current affairs related. Maybe you can skip that. Even if you do not know the answers, you need not to feel bad about it. For the rest of the 80 questions, you should be having the answers. Sometimes in 2015, I guess, there were 2 questions which were repeated from 2013 and 2014. That is a huge advantage for you. And you will have that knack of answering the questions also if you are used to the old question papers. And maybe I should not tell this in a coaching institute, but I personally did not believe in answering the mock test series of the coaching institutes. That never helped me. Maybe I have answered 1 or 2 and I felt that these are of no use, and as it is. Try to frame your own questions and try to frame your own answers. Maybe if you are while setting starting, if you are able to read a particular topic, just see to it how a prelims question can be framed in this particular topic. Not for every topic, so the basic topics that you are going to study. What are the basic topics? Basic topics are the standard general studies, subjects that you are going to study. History, economics, quality, and environment. Environment was not so important then. Now I think it is taking a lot of. And one more suggestion about prelims is that you should read the NCERTs completely. NCERTs are very, very, very helpful, irrespective of what people can tell you or what people around you are studying. Read NCERT at least 10 to 15 times. I am 100% sure, and I will be 100% sure after 5 years also, there will be at least 30% of the questions directly coming from the NCERTs. One or the other. From 6th till 12th standard. Science you can study till 10th, and mathematics you can skip that, no need of studying that. And international relations and arts, international relations, 11th and 12th you can skip. Geography, economics and history, you should study. There is no other alternative. How many of you are studying NCERT course? All of them. Nice to know. And not many people were knowing this also. Not many people were giving stress. Maybe a few of them were studying. Not many were giving stress, but that is very essential. And I used to prepare NCERTs from my first attempt also. And how many of you are reading newspapers? All of them. Daily. Which newspapers do you use? Only Hindu. Do you make notes out of it? How do you make notes? Everyone is following the same strategy. How many of you are revising your notes? There are few of my friends who have cleared without reading newspapers also. They have studied certain current affairs materials from Vision IAS and some other sources. But my personal feeling is that if you are reading newspapers, you will be able to understand the issue from in its entirety. Maybe say if some particular deal is going to happen, there will be a preface to that particular deal. Maybe 15 or 20 days prior to that, there will be an issue or an article regarding that particular thing or that particular issue. You will have studied that one. Maybe after 2 days, you will have forgotten that also. And again it will come. Again there will be a revision in your mind. Again it will come. Again there will be a revision. And as the deal is happening, there will be a proper coverage about that. During that also, you will be knowing the ins and outs of it. And you will be knowing the positive effects as well as the negative effects of that particular deal. Or any particular subject for that. Or any particular economic policy. Okay. GST and the control. During our times, GST was even now also GST is the hot topic. And we had studied about GST maybe 1.5 years before its implementation. Before that was in news also. That was in mainstream news also. There would be some small chota articles written about it. We used to search about it. We used to read, and that particular things will help you a lot. Not just in your prelims as well as in main. That will help you in interview. It will help you a lot in interview. Because most of the aspirants, what they do is, they will be reading those particular current affairs. Okay, current affairs notes or some particular materials that we will be getting in the market. And their focus will be only limited to that particular topic. It will be very difficult for them to interrelate it with the other topics also. If you are reading the newspaper, there will be so many articles related to that particular topic where they will have only interrelated certain topics. So they will make your work very easy. Okay. And by reading newspapers also, after a month or so, if you said that you are making notes every day, maybe every Sunday or every Monday or one particular day in a week, you can see how many topics are repeated and have a broad revision. And after a month or so, you can say, rewrite your notes. Initially, maybe you would have underlined in newspaper article, or you would have cut that article, or you would have made a rough draft or a sketch. And maybe on 1st of August, you would have got one particular information about a particular topic. On 2nd or maybe on 5th of August, you would have got 2 more particular issues about that particular topic. After a month or so, you can see that particular topic in an integrated way. Okay, after a month, you can see and you can see all the dates on which that particular news has appeared. You can look into your notes on all the issues that have come up about that particular topic, and you can put that in one particular place. This helps you in 2 ways. First, it will help you revise the whole topic, and you need not have to face difficulties in revising again about that particular topic. Second, all the issues related to that particular topic will be in one place. So you will have prepared your own notes, and which will come in very handy during your mains examination as well as during your interview. And one particular thing I would want to stress upon you people is revision. How many of you are stressing on revision? Yeah. Okay, revision is very, very important. Maybe not in prelims, but in mains as well as in interview. I'll come to interview later. Especially in mains, it will be very, very helpful. Because, see, in mains, you'll have 4 general studies paper, 1 essay paper, and your optional papers, apart from English. That will be in a span of around maybe 5 or 6 days. In the span of 5-6 days, you will have to recollect the whole things that you have studied. That will be a Herculean task. How can you make this particular task very easy is that you should start revising each particular topic as and when you complete it. Maybe you complete one particular topic today. After a week, you can revisit that particular topic. You can have a broad overview of that particular topic. Say in the initial part, if you have taken 10 hours to read particular subject or lesson, in the next time when you revise, maybe you would have forgotten most of the things, and you would take around 6 to 7 hours because you would have read it once already, and you would be taking 6 to 7 hours. When you revise it next time after a month or so, after a month or maybe after 10 days or so, you will be taking around 2 hours. And after maybe 6 or 8 or 10 times of revision, you will be able to study the entire lesson in maybe 30 to 40 seconds. That is how your mind also works. That is how it worked for me, and that is how it will work for everyone also. If you keep on revising, the entire notes or entire subject you can revise in maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Whole of the subject, whole of the option. If you just scan it, if you just shift the pages, your entire thing will be coming up in your mind. And that is how your mains papers also will work. You will be having around 20 to 25 questions, and each questions will be having around 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes. 7 minutes is the entire duration. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes to think, and 5 minutes to write. 5 minutes to write. In 1 or 2 minutes, you should be able to interrelate so many issues about that particular topic. Okay, this will happen only if you have revised. So stress on revision. That is very, very, very important. If you study 100 topics and if you do not revise anything, it is as good as studying nothing. More than stressing on or studying 100 topics, study only 10 topics. Study only 10 topics and try to revise it as many times as possible. Maybe if you can revise it 10 times, that will fetch you more marks. And that will stay with you also for most of the time. Okay? And have you people started to write the answers already? Initially, don't try to write the answers. It will be very foolish for you people because you will not be knowing what to write without having the knowledge about it. You should gain some knowledge about one particular topic. You study for maybe 6 to 8 months or maybe 4 to 5 months based on your capacity. Once you have some hold about a particular subject, start writing the answers. There is no one particular point of time where you should start writing the answers. It is not like once you finish the prelims, you should start writing the answers. Even before that also you can do. Not a problem. You should have one person, maybe I think Sumu can he can fit into that particular place, who should be able to guide you. Guide you in the sense, they should be able to correct your answers. Maybe 1 or 2 suggestions only. That's all. Just to understand that whether your approach is right or not. Okay. More than that, what I used to do is, I would write a particular answer, say on 1st of August, and maybe after a week or 10 days, I would revisit that answer. By revisiting, what you will learn is, you will be able to point out your own mistakes. You should not revisit or maybe you should not revise that answer or you should not correct the answer immediately after writing or 1 or 2 days after writing that particular answer. You should completely forget about that particular question, that particular answer, and then you should revisit it, maybe after a week or 10 days. Then you will be able to realize the mistakes that you have done, and you will be able to correct it in different particular ways, different ways. And one more thing that will particular method will give you is you will have forgotten what you have written. So certain new points will also be coming into your mind by revising your own answers. So what you can do is every Sunday or every one particular day you can keep it for your revision as well as revisiting your answers. And maybe you can rewrite it 1 or 2 times. Then you will start getting that perfection. And so many people will ask about how to write answers, what is a good answer, what are the components that I should have in a particular answer. There is nothing like one particular strategy or one good answer. It is your creativity. It is your skills that you will be putting on paper. And how are you going to get that skills, or how are you going to get the creativity? It is only based on your practice. If you have practiced at least maybe 40 to 50, it depends on individual. For me, an average person, it might take maybe 60 to 70 days to get that perfection in answer writing. For a few smart people, it might take around 20 to 30 days. So average would be around 40 to 50 days. If you have practiced writing your answers properly, regularly, and revisiting your answers and correcting your own answers, in 40 to 50 days, maybe that is 1.5 to 2 months of your answer writing and essays writing would be sufficient for you. And in essays also, essays is not much different from your answers. Maybe you will have to expand it and you will have to bring in more new topics related to that one particular issue that is being asked in your essay. We have I have particularly written around 4 to 5 essays before the exam, that is my 2015. In that essays also, once there is a topic given to you, try to think about it for maybe 5 to 10 minutes and try to grab as much as the interrelated topics that is possible for you related to that particular topic. Just note down certain points, not the entire issues, just certain points related to that particular issue or that particular question that is being asked in your exam. Try to pull up, it is like brainstorming, you should brainstorm everything that you have studied. And one thing I want to tell you is that in essay there is no separate strategy or separate things that you have to study for essay. You will be studying so many things in your general preparation that will be more than sufficient for your essay. You should be able to utilize those particular things in your essay. Your knowledge and your flow of that thought process has to be reflected in your essays. Once you pull out all your ideas or all your thoughts, then try to organize it. Maybe in the next 5 minutes, which are the topics that I am going to address initially, and which are the topics I am going to go in detail in between, and how am I going to end my essay. If you have that structure in mind, just go on writing. Essay should be like the flow of the river. Okay? It should be as natural as possible. You would have studied so many editorials in the newspaper. While studying, he would have taken you from one topic to another topic in a very smooth way. That is how it should be. I am not expecting you to use that particular standard of English. It should be very crisp and clear. What UPSC expects is 10th standard level of English as well as 10th standard level of knowledge. It should be as simple as possible, as crisp as possible. For a layman, if he is able to read that particular essay, he should be able to understand in one attempt. I will not at all be knowing about you people. If I am able to study and maybe read and understand your essay in one attempt, then it means that your essay is a good one. Okay. Don't try to stuff in too many themes in your essay, keep it as simple as possible. Let the flow be as natural as possible. One more suggestion that I want to give you people is, there is a general tendency among the aspirants that the number of books or the number of materials that you study is directly proportional to your success rate in UPSC. But that is actually indirectly proportional. The less number of books that you study for that one particular topic, the better it is. If you are reading one book, maybe Bipin Chandra for history, you should stick on to that particular book only. You should revise that 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 times as much as you like. If you can get some extra topics in some other book, maybe 1 or 2 additions would be fine. But don't read too many books for only one particular subject or one particular topic. Even for your optional also, read maybe 2 or 3 books, make your own course, revise that particular course only for 10 minutes. That will stay with you forever. Okay. Sometimes what happens is if you go to one particular Xerox shop, there will be some new material coming up. And if you go to one bookstore or your friend will come and suggest that this is a new book that comes out and this is a very good book. Don't fall into that trap. You will just collect all those books and you will be piling up it in your room, and that will increase the stress level also in you. If you have so many books and if you have not studied that, there will be a fear within you that I have not studied all these books and how am I going to clear the exam? Okay, read as many as limited books as possible and as authentic books as possible. Authentic. Maybe certain government publishers published books, NCERT for example, Economic Survey, Budget, PIB News, or Yojana or Kurukshetra, whichever you feel is comfortable, or certain standard newspapers like Hindu or Indian Express. These are the sources which will be authentic. You want to use limited sources only and revise as many times as possible. Okay. Even for general studies also, fix your standard books. Maybe in the initial phases of your preparation only. Few of them like Spectrum for history. I used to like Bipin Chandra because that is a thicker book, Bipin Chandra, but I was able to finish that in a lesser time compared to Spectrum. I did not like the way the approach is in Spectrum. For Somo it is the opposite, and even for Harsha also it is the opposite. They used to read Spectrum, and they had more information also. And I am not telling that they did a mistake or something like that. It is based on your your orientation. You should choose a particular book. If you feel that particular book which is of authentic source is a good one, just pick it up and start reading it. And try to make some notes where only you go, or you can try to make a separate notes and revise that particular book as many times as possible. I used to, my seniors also used to tell that it is better to make a separate notes of a book, but I did not make any notes of books. What I used to do is I used to underline there, or I used to highlight there, and certain thoughts I used to get while reading that particular book, I used to write it down there. It helped me a lot in while revising, because while revising, you will remember the instances when you underlined also, and when you highlighted also, and the thought that you would have written there, that will once again come back to you. That will be very helpful for you. Pick up your own strategy. Each individual's strategy will be different. You can choose your own. Okay. Coming to interview, I'll share my personal experience. In 2014 attempt I had got to interview. I got 143 out of 300. Okay. And in 2015 attempt, I got 193 out of 275. So 193 was like maybe top 5% of this course in that particular year. Only 4 or 5% had scored above 195 or 200 in that particular range. Maybe 5% of the students had scored 119. when I went to interview in 2014, after coming back from the interview, I felt very bad about myself. Maybe the questions I got were also totally unexpected, and the way I responded to them also was very disappointing for me. And I thought, if this is the way and if this is the approach that I follow, I can never clear this exam. I started to analyzing the mistakes that I did. Few of the things that I noted was, in every answers I used to directly go into the answers and try to answer. Say for example, I give you one particular instance. If one interview panel or one person asks you, what are the general problems that the agriculture in India is facing? I used to delve into the details of the matter. Say maybe, there are so many problems that the agriculture in India is facing. Your approach should be, I will not tell you how I used to, the mistakes that I did. Rather than that, I will tell you how your approach should be. For the same question, if someone asks you what are the general problems that the agriculture in India is facing, in the first or second sentences, you will not be able to tell much of the details. So, you should frame your answers in such a way where you should give a bird's eye view of the whole topic. Say for the same question, you can tell, sir, the agriculture in India is facing a lot of problems in different particular areas. Say for example, the cropping pattern, the technology that we use in the agriculture, the marketing or the transportation that is being done in the agriculture sector, or the insurance. So you should be able to give that entirety in one particular sentence or one or two sentences. And maybe if the interviewer asks you to delve about one particular issue in that particular topic. Say for example, if he asks you what are the technical problems that agriculture is facing, then you can delve into that particular topic and you can answer the whole topic. What I used to do is, I used to delve into one particular topic that used to be in my mind, and I used to forget this broader way, broader approach. That will not give a very good impression to the interviewer also. They will think that maybe this person is unable to see any particular issue in its broader terms, or in its entirety. So you should talk to yourself. You should realize your own mistakes. Maybe you can sit in front of the mirror and you can ask certain questions to yourself, and you should produce the answers, or answer the questions, thinking that you are in the interview panel. If you look at yourself, you should be able to, at least make some sense, or you should be able to give at least 80% of the marks for yourself. If you are not able to do that, maybe something you are doing some mistake. Answering part. The body language matters a lot in interview. You should feel confident about yourself. You should maybe take guidance from one of your friends or one of your teachers. You should pick a topic. Ask yourself, what is the answer that I am going to give about this particular topic, and you should try to answer maybe 15 to 20 seconds or maybe 30 to 40 seconds. You will be able to cover around 40 to 50% of the questions that will be coming across to you in your interview. How are you going to do this? How are you going to predict these 40 to 50% of the questions? That will be based on your background, maybe based on your educational background, or based on your BAF that you have given, or the hobbies that you have given, or the place you are from, or the places you have studied from. These are the issues that will be coming across to you. 100%, one or two questions will be there with that usually when you enter an interview board, they'll not know anything about you, and DAF is the only link between you and that particular person. So definitely that the initial at least 5 to 6 minutes of your interview should be based on DAF. There will be exceptions also. There will be some 5 to 10% of the interview panels where they directly start into certain topics. But just to make you comfortable, the interview panel will ask you certain questions from DAF. That is where your interview will start. And if you gain your confidence in that for 5 to 6 minutes of your interview, believe me, your interview will be fetching you very good marks. It is those 5 to 10 minutes of your initial period that will fetch you the marks. Most of the people make an impression about you in 2 to 3 minutes only. Okay? In interview, it is not about your knowledge or your intellect that will be tested. It is the approach, or it is the confidence, or it is the grace that you carry within yourself. Most of the times, in my interview also, for 3-4 questions I had no answers. So I frankly agreed that I am not aware of this particular topic. They did not punish me for that. So it takes a lot of confidence for you to say no, or to say I do not know about some particular topic. Don't try to bluff anything in your interview. Try to keep it as simple as possible. Sometimes what we tend to do is, we have some half-baked knowledge, we try to make up some, cook up some answers, and we try to say that in our interview. That will take you nowhere. They will be very experienced. They will be able to catch you. If you are not able to answer one particular topic, you can frankly say that you are not able to answer that particular question. You do not know about that particular topic. There will be so many things, even after 40 or 50 years of service or experience, there will be so many topics that even interview panelists will also not be knowing. They will also be having so many doubts. And it is humanly impossible to know every topic, right? They will have tested your intellect or your knowledge in your mains paper. That is just to test your personality. If you are just confident and if you are able to answer with that grace in your face, you will be able to pass your interview with flying colors. There will be no problem at all. Okay? Do you have any more questions apart from that IPS? I think I answered most of the questions. Any doubts?
So
Yes.
how to pressure in hand?
Pressure, you command rest pressure, only on the pressure. There is nothing like handling pressure. You should just concentrate on the work in your hand. If you are focused, there will be no pressure for you at all. That is what I said in the initial phase of my lecture. That resilience in you, it matters a lot. There will be so many things or so many negativities around you, and people will be talking so many negative things about you. But that self-belief or resilience is what matters now. If you are able to bounce back from those situations, there will be definitely odd days where you will not be able to study at all. There were so many odd days for me. Maximum number of days were odd days only for me, where I was not able to study even for 2 or 3 hours a day also. Sometimes when your mood is good, you will be able to study 10-15 hours also at a stretch. And one thing I want to tell you is that while preparing for your UPSC, don't try to just focus on your studies alone. There will be so many things around you. Have some entertainment. That will not just friends or family or friends. You have to refresh yourself. Okay, what happens here? Maybe if you study for 2 or 3 days at a stretch, you will be feeling full, or you will be feeling done jog for maybe half an hour or so. I used to get tired, all my negative energy used to go out there. And I used to sleep for maybe 2 or 3 hours. Then after waking up, I used to feel refreshed. Some people listen to music, some people talk to their friends, some people watch movies, or some people study some novels or something. You can choose your own. You will be better judge. You will not just much on that. Be physically fit also. You know, physical fitness is one of the characteristics of your personality. It's like maybe I should not comment on this. If you see a fit person, your initial approach, your initial feeling will also be very good. Na? No. Don't think, don't take it other ways. That is how I feel personally. It will add to that grace within yourself. You are physically fit. Are there any more questions?
ಸರ್ UPSCಗೆ ಮೈನ್ ಆಗಿ 6th to 12th ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಥ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅದೇ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ
ಯಾವಾಗ ಬಂದೆಪ್ಪ
ಎಷ್ಟು
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ NCERT ಬುಕ್ಸ್ 6ನೇ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಂದ 12ನೇ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ವರೆಗೂ ಪೂರ ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ GS ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ NCERT ಇಂದಲೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನು ನೆಸೆಸಿಟಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಬಟ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಜಿಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅದನ್ನಂತೂ ಬಿಡಬೇಡಿ ಈವನ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬುಕ್ ಇನ್ 11th ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಂಡರ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅದು ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ NCERT ಇಂದಲೇ ನಿಮ್ಮದು preparation start. NCERT is like your foundation. If your foundation is strong, you can build whatever structure you want. Okay, if your foundation is weak, you cannot build anything. Even if you build, it will fall down somewhere. That's all. If you have any queries or any doubts, you can call me anytime. My number put in it. Okay, note down my number. 97 39 31 45 11.
used to give the headlines headings for one paragraph.
See, and even in essays as well as in mains also, excuse me, there was a question asked by your friend. He is saying that there will be certain headings given while writing the answers. There is nothing like headings or something. If you want, you can give. If you don't want, you give not. Even in Hindu paper also, there will be, for few articles, there will be headings and few for few it will not be there. It is based on the author. You show your creativity there. Even in essays also, few people tend to make that headings or paragraphs. Paragraphs is important because one particular topic or one particular issue has to be addressed in one particular paragraph. So it feels good to read. If you finish that particular paragraph, you will be done with that particular topic. All the things related to that particular topic will be in one paragraph. In the next paragraph, there should be some link to the older paragraph. There should be some new one. That is what you take the essays also. If you want, maybe after 400 or 500 words or 300 or 400 words, you can have a heading. So that they also can structure their thoughts maybe in easily. Okay.
Please ask questions. If you want your teachers to be not in the hall, we'll leave. We will not think like you want us to leave, we will leave them. You can ask questions freely.
Time management. This is one popular question. How many hours should I study or how to manage the time? See, the thing is, each individual's capacity will be different. Okay, I am an average student. I used to take a lot of time to study. So I used to understand in a very slow manner. Depends on each individual. For a topic, maybe I used to take 10 hours, or one particular person may take 3 or 4 hours. But at the end of the day, you should be able to finish all the topics. Okay. Some people will be studying only 3 to 4 hours a particular day. Some people will be studying 10 to 12 hours a particular day. And some people say 15, 16 hours, which is not at all humanly possible. I do not know why they say that. Maybe 10 or 11 hours of good study would be sufficient. 11 hours or 8, 9 hours of good proper study. Sometimes what used to happen is, when I'm not feeling fresh or not feeling good about myself, I used to study maybe 3 or 4 pages or one particular topic in 8 to 10 hours. And if I am in a good mood, I will be able to study that in half an hour. So time is relative. Time management also. I'll tell my own example. I used to I like preparing those timetables. From 7:30 to 9:30, I'm going to study this topic. From 9:30 to 9:45, I'll have breakfast. 9:45 to 11:45, I used to study this subject. But believe me, I have never even for one day followed the timetable. Okay, that will not be possible. At least you should be able to stick on to that timetable. At least some 70%. And for few people, for my wife, she thinks that preparing a timetable will be like putting her in jail. She cannot study if there is a timetable. There has to be some free space or free mind for her to study inside. So I do not know how that works. Depends on the individual. So if you like preparing the timetables and if you want to stick on to it, you can prepare. Or else if you think you are a free thinker sort of a person, you can just go with the flow. Now, Mohan nange ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ timetable ಹಾಕೋದು ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನನಗೆ without timetable I used to not do anything at all. There should be some reference. So whether I follow it or not is a secondary thing. So there should be some reference for me. That is how I am will be tuned at this. Have any other questions? Believe in yourself. If you believe and if you persistently put efforts, you can definitely get into one of the other exams. UPSC or KPSC, there are so many other exams. Definitely UPSC if you put in a lot of smart hard work. Good luck for everyone.
Please share your working experience. That is, I think people are more excited about work experience.
See, work experience, I'll tell you one example. Okay. Just to make you familiar with the dilemmas that you people will be facing in field. I'll just tell one example. There was a case in my jurisdiction. Okay. That particular girl was 17 years and 3 months or so by March of 2018. There was a missing case registered in one of the police stations. And after a month or so, that girl used to, she had only her mother, her father was no more. Her mother found her and she used to frequently travel to her house. She was married to somebody. And I will tell you the background of that mother also. She was not taking care of her very well. She was from the other husband of her. And she had some 2-3 illegal relationships also. And, she also wanted that particular girl to go into that business. She was forcing her into that business. So she thought this particular guy, he used to earn some 8,000, like some normal menial work, to take care of me. And she eloped with and she married also. And after a month, everybody got to know. And she was frequently visiting her mother's home also. And they were happy. For festivals and all, they used to visit. And in July or August, what happened was, there was one person who had some affair with that mother. He got to know about it. He planted an idea in that mother's head. what he said was, you belong to one particular community, SC community, and that particular person, that boy, belongs to some upper caste, some Lingayat or something, Maratha or Lingayat. So if you file a case, you'll be getting money. So 4 or 5 lakhs of money. Okay. So what he did was, he got her mother also to the station. And he only suggested that these particular people are that particular place. And our people went there, caught both of them, brought back to the station. And she was maybe 3 or 4 months pregnant by then. She came to me and we had put him into custody. We had taken him into custody. We did the medical test and all. We did some counseling also for her from the lady staff. And we had sent her to Santvana camp also for 2 days. After coming back from there, I had visited the station. She came to me and she asked me a few questions. She was like, "Sir, see, there is no father for me. There is no one to take care of me. My mother is doing this business and she wants me also to go into that business. This person, some 21-year-old person, he was the only person who was taking care of me. And I have a baby also in my stomach. If you put him also in jail, what will happen to me? Or how am I going to survive? What will happen to my baby? What will happen to me?" I had no answers for that particular question. What we had done is, legally what we had done was right, but morally what we had done was wrong. Where will she go? Who will take care of her? She will not be able to work in that particular situation. There were more relatives, more parents, and that guy's family also disowned her. What will you do? These are the dilemmas that you will face in field. We did something else later. I'll tell you after clearing the exam. And we have given justice to her also, that person also. But that is not a legal thing to do, and I am not supposed to share that also here. Maybe if you can personally talk to me, I can tell you. At the end of the day, even in your ethics answers also, you should have some morality. Do not strictly go by the laws. Okay, laws are there to maybe morality in the sense, your conscience, not the public morality that is existing in the current times. You should have that conscience and you should have that humanity. Or else it will be very rude. It will be acting against the lives of so many generations. And believe me, this is one particular job where you can draw maximum satisfaction. All the All India services, all the UPSC services, not just All India services, you will have a lot of satisfaction at the end of the day. You will be able to do a lot of good things. Okay. See, for a DM, I'll tell you one more example of the recent floods. You might have reading in newspapers. My subdivision was devastated, Chikkodi subdivision. We were able to rescue almost 2 lakh people. 2 lakh people, and they were adamant of not coming out of their houses. And at the end of the day, that gives a lot of satisfaction of saving so many lives. There was one PSI of our subdivision. There was only 2 hours left for him to evacuate the entire village. That thing had come in the TV also. TV program. I'll share that with you. He had only 2 hours to rescue almost 2,500 people, and so many animals were there. He literally begged them and he fell into their feet also. He literally dragged them out of the village. And after 2 or 3 days, when they came back to their village and saw the situation, they are treating him like God. That is the purpose of your life, or the purpose that you want to join this in the services. You can draw a lot of satisfaction. Salary is also decent nowadays. You can have a decent living, not as you get in the corporate jobs. But you will have most of your needs will be taken care of. You will have a vehicle. You will have a vehicle to travel. You will have a quarters also. Not much expenses. 10,000 in a month would be more than sufficient to take care of this. And salaries are quite good nowadays after 7th graduation.
Suicide cases in police department gradually increases. What are the reasons for that?
Who told it is increasing? It's coming down. Earlier it was low. There were many reasons earlier actually. Police department, we used to read ARC reports.
Police
Yes.
ARC reports.
Yes.
Administrative responsibility.
Yes.
In that there is a report about police responsibility. They have quoted so many reasons, and that is the reality also. Okay. First, their salary will be very less. It used to be very less, not now. Houses were in a very dilapidated conditions. Their working condition was very pathetic. They used to be pressurized from their seniors, from their colleagues, from the general public also. You know how much our police constable will be working? Minimum 12 to 15 hours they will work. Any police constable. We are very short in the manpower. For the entire subdivision, we have around 250 strength in this subdivision. We are catering to around more than 6 lakh population, 5 or 6 lakh population. Very nice. The stress in the night rounds that we'll have to do, the stress that we'll be taking from all the people around, it will be enormous. And when you are doing so much of work and your time is so irregular, your health also spoils. You cannot take care of your family. You cannot see your kids growing up. These are the main reasons. But now things are improving drastically. They are getting very good houses. They are getting 2 BHK houses. Their salaries also increase after this after graduation. So things are good. You should be able to put in certain self-respect into every subordinate of yours or every colleague of yours. In every work that they do, you should be able to put in some sort of self-respect. If they have self-respect, all these things will be taken down. Suicide or lack of confidence about oneself, all these things will be taken down. And believe me, more than the officers, it is the constabulary who are taken. And most of the things will be done by constable, irrespective of who takes the case. You might have seen so many singams and all. It's all credit of the constables. Do you have anything else? When you go into the detail,
just to take any topic and just make them to understand how you jot down the points and how the flow will be. Just 5-10 minutes.
Okay, come on, brainstorm certain things or topics that come into testing of the nation,
Lies next class.
lies in its class. What are the things that will come into your head after listening to this topic? Okay, what are the examples that can come into your head? Lala.
Education is
One example which I get is like in China they are poor at food also, same as India. What they did is they introduced the coaching right from the beginning in the initial level, nursery level.
Next. Football.
China.
Education policy, right to education.
Huh?
Education policy, right to education.
Okay. That. Okay, education policies then.
No example of Japan.
What?
Moral studies as a subject for nursery and pre-nursery up to
Then
In Australia, children are
children are
protested mining problem.
children are protesting against the mining
Mining
policy.
problem.
Huh. Hmm.
The role of schools in molding the children.
Huh?
The role of school in
Huh.
molding the children.
Then
Co-education bring to resolve the discrimination against women.
where is co-ed in this?
So co-education.
No, where is co-ed? मतलब co-ed education. It's okay. Co-ed. What did you tell? Co-ed education
Brings the discrimination against women.
eliminates discrimination.
In religious perspective, gender.
Okay. Then. Okay, I will tell few of the thoughts that I am getting. One is I remember one statement by Abdul Kalam. He had given one example in one of the interviews where he was telling that we had very dilapidated state in our dilapidated buildings in our schools, but it is the teachers who made us what we are. He gives an example of the birds flying and how his teacher took him there and he explained it to him. Okay. Then this one. Role of children in molding children. Okay. Children. How are you going to mold the children? Going to mold the child in terms of values, in terms of intellect, in terms of abilities. Maybe you can add so many things here in these values. Patriotism, equality, constitutional values. Next, certain policies or certain issues. What are the issues that are currently facing we are facing in India?
Budget expenditure.
Religious, huh? See, your knowledge will not help much in your factual knowledge will not help much in your essays. It does not matter to me whether you give the budget expenditure or the proportion of the budget that you are dedicating to education. You should have that overall view. Okay, religious issues we are facing, political issues we are facing, leadership issues we are facing. Then, what are the issues we are facing?
creating quality among the children because they were involved in many plans.
How when child is molded into adult. This happens in classroom. Okay, maybe you can add one or two quotes. ತಾಯಿಯೇ ಮೊದಲ ಗುರು ಇದಲ್ಲ. Those things you can add. See, these issues are more than enough to address this topic. Okay, first you should understand what is the essence of this statement. Destiny of a nation lies in its classroom. Okay, it is how you mold a child into an adult defines what your nation is. It's as simple as it is. First, how are you going to take, how is it you are going to build an example? First, maybe you can write an example of Abdul Kalam. You can write his stories maybe in 10 or 12 sentences. Then you have to stress upon the importance of education or importance of classroom, not education in the broader terms, for the overall development of a child. How is it going to help with the molding of a child? You have to stress upon that particular topic maybe for 150 to 200 words. How certain important, most of the examples that you have given are from outside the country. Why can't you give certain examples from within the country? There are so many great leaders who have stressed upon education, and there are so many leaders who are the current day leaders or the past leaders because of their education or because of their teachers or because of their classroom values. Okay, those things you can stress in the second part. Certain important leaders you can take, maybe Vivekananda, Abdul Kalam, or Ambedkar for that example. You can change the course of the nation if your children are properly molded in the sense in terms of education, in terms of values, in terms of intellect, in terms of knowledge. We want to break what they say. Example. Next. Importance of education. Okay, importance of education in child's life. Next. Examples of leaders. Because of education. Next. Current condition of education. Country. Here you can bring in certain policies. Not the factual terms, certain policies. Okay, where you are retail meals, all those schemes, where the government or the entire nation is trying to bring the masses into the stream of education. Condition of education. Policies. Certain issues. Faced First will be by the country. Okay. Certain issues faced by the country. These are the issues. Morality, issues, religious issues. So many communal conflicts are there. Here you can improve your knowledge. There would be some communal incident in one particular state. These are the knowledge that you will be getting in newspapers. There will be one particular incident that you would have studied. One particular communal incident. How did that happen? Because of the lack of education. There will be some political crisis. Why did that happen? Because of the greed for power or lack of values among the leaders. So don't be too critical also. It should be in a very sober way. Okay, and there will be so many environmental impacts of our developmental projects. Why is that happening? Because of lack of concern for the environment. That is one particular value. Okay, these are the issues that you have to address. Issues that the country is facing and issues that the education itself is facing. Here you can bring around your knowledge of Yojana, Kurukshetra or economic survey or something. There they would have mentioned, in 2 or 3 days ago I was reading the newspaper, where they were telling that the midday meals scheme in Karnataka, they have formed the centralized kitchen concept model in India, where they will be cooking food at one particular place and they will be distributing. And people are telling that it is because of that people have become malnourished. The children have become malnourished. They are not able to give the quality food or nutritious food to the kids. You can bring in certain issues. Okay. And issues in the sense, certain lacunas that the education in India is facing, or how the privatization is taking over the government aided or government funded institutions. Schools or colleges or whatever it is. Classrooms in the sense it is not just for the children, it can be for schools also. And you can add in brain drain also here. Why is it happening? And we are producing quality students, but they are all eloping somewhere else. How can we check this? And after this, you should end your essay on a positive note. What are the corrective measures that you can corrective measures in terms of policy intervention, or to fill up all these lacunas that you have pointed out. It should not be like you have pointed out some 10 mistakes of the government or the policies, and you have been able to address only 1 or 2, or you have not addressed them at all. It leaves you in a very, it will not give a very good impression for the evaluator also. You are criticizing the system that you are entering, but you have no solutions to improve it. That is the message that you will be sending if you leave your essay at that particular point. What are the corrective measures? Corrective measures in terms of policy or in terms of certain implementation of certain schemes. And last one, certain value additions. Here your creative skills will be coming across. Certain value additions from your own, certain suggestions about certain policy implementation. This is just optional. If you have any value additions, give it, or else you can end with the corrective measures. How a good classroom can be done. So this should be relating to this. Okay, if I am able to study the topic and your last paragraph, I should be able to make a conclusion about your essay. Okay, you should have ended up here with a positive note, saying that if these things are followed up and if these characters are taken by classroom, we can have a prosperous or developed or value-based nation. Some people, what they do is they will try to explain the word nation in the essay, and they'll have so many interpretations about nation. They'll have so many interpretations about classroom also. Different definition of classrooms. That will not fetch you good marks. You should be able to understand the essence of this topic. So, what is that the examiner is expecting out of you? Destiny of a nation lies in its classroom. That simply means that if their classrooms are good, if their infrastructure is good, if their teachers are good, if the values are imparted there, definitely your nation has to be good, right? They are the ones who will be building the nation. In terms of different aspects also. Politically that will be good. Economically also your country will be going good. Morally also and value-wise also your country will be going good. Okay. Okay, and one final thing is, maybe I should not tell this. Even if you are not going to get through also, don't get disheartened. There are so many things that you will be able to do in life, and there are so many things also apart from this service. And you can do good work in whichever profession you are or in whichever field you are. Okay. Thank you.